So this is Simon Chan. I want to welcome to our No BS No Hype MLM training. In tonight's webinar, we will talk about 5 things you need to know so you can earn at least $1 million in network marketing. Right, and these are 5 fundamental skills. It doesn't matter what company you are in. And by the way, this is a generic MLM training with people from different companies on here. So this is for the whole MLM community. And you guys are entrepreneurs. And I want to teach you 5 things. And I've been in the business for over 11 years with the same company. And every leader that I've talked to, they're very, very good at these 5 things. And this is special, unique training because we have none other Nancy Ong from San Jose, California. If you've never heard of her, let me just give you a brief intro. She was the youngest person to hit Diamond Director in her company. And if you met her back when she was younger, you would never thought she would be someone that's successful. You know, Jay Nancy and I always joke around. She's like the ugly duckling, but she made it. And one of the things that she does really, really well is with social media. So you're going to learn a lot of social media strategies. Okay, so let's go. Let me share a little bit about my background because, like I said, I've been in the business for 11 years. This is probably a lot of you have seen before. I was the #1 fastest grower in the company 2 years ago. Okay, you may see my fan page or my trainings of over 66,000 likes. But I wasn't like that. Okay, when I first started out, I used to work for the NBA, which I thought was a dream job. I had a dream job. I loved my job. I was a huge basketball fan. And long story short, I ended up, the dream job became better. I actually worked with the first Chinese player to make it to the NBA. And one day he asked me to leave the NBA to work for him. And so I was basically his agent. And it was a dream job. And so I was on TV. I did interviews with him. I've been over 200 NBA games courtside. Okay, 200 NBA games courtside on ESPN.com, on NBA TV. And it was really cool. It was really fun. This is when I was in my 20s. I partied with the players. I got to go in clubs, and I was living it up, right? But the problem was, it was still a job. Okay, it was still a job, and I was basically helping NBA players make money. 7 days a week, even the basketball games that were boring I had to watch. And there's 2 big problems. Number one, I was living in a tiny apartment on Bundy Street, okay, 1633 South Bundy Street in Los Angeles. I was making all these NBA players money, but nothing for myself. I was living like that. And the second thing is I was working, and just to show you, this is just my friends. This was like the living room and my foyer at the same time. And my kitchen was right there, And I just, I worked so hard and with my time. I had a lot of autographs, a lot of ticket stubs, I had good memories at the clubs with the players. But at the end of the day, I woke up one day and said, I need to be more responsible. I want to start a family. I had a serious girlfriend. And another thing was, my dad was a doctor, right? He came over from Hong Kong. He pursued American dream. And he and my mom came over in 1969 with no money. And I guess he accomplished his American dream by having a big house. We grew up in Brooklyn, New York, and Bay Ridge. We had a 1.3 Mercedes. But to me, as a kid, that didn't mean anything. When I was a kid, I was very disappointed with my dad because he never, all I cared about, I'll tell you, when I was 10 years old, I didn't care about the cars. Right? A 10-year-old kid doesn't know about what the difference between Mercedes or GM or Ford is or Toyota. All I wanted to do was play baseball and then watch the New York Yankees, go to Yankee Stadium and watch the Knicks play Madison Square Garden. But my dad, he was always so busy. He never got a chance to do that. And I just said to myself, money is important, but it's not everything, right? I wanted to time with I wanted to time my dad. And actually, that's one of the reasons my relationship with my dad is not that close. I became really close to my grandparents. My grandmother was actually the first one who took me to my Yankee game. I still remember. I remember who won, who got the game-winning hit. I remember everything. We took the subway up there. My grandparents. So later on, I was like, when I was growing up, I don't want to be like my father. When I have kids, I want to be like that. I want to be like my grandparents, spend time. But what happened was, a couple of years later, in my this dream job of mine at the NBA, not only was I not making money, I was basically going down the same road as my father. Working, because if you're working for the NBA, if you're a fan, you just go to the games that are exciting, right? When you're working there, you got to go to every single game. The good ones, the boring games. I was there, all the games. So I just said to myself, something's got to change. And that's how I just started reading, looking for things. A friend of mine, actually an ex-girlfriend, recommended this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. When I saw Rich Dad, Poor Dad, I was like, wow. It was I felt that I was the whole life I was grew up like the poor dad. If you've never read that book, it's basically if you want to be financially free, you have to have a business. You cannot rely on the job anymore. Look at the economy right now. Houses are more expensive. Gas, petrol is getting more and more expensive nowadays, but the salaries are the same, right? So how can you actually ever keep up? And the only way is through a job, through a business, right? You can't do it with a job. But what type of business? I had no experience, so I did my research. I read other books. I read books, Cash Flow Quadrant. I read Multiple Streams of Income by Robert Allen. I read all these personal finance books, and they all said one thing in common. Number one, you got to have a business. And number two, for the average person like me who had no business experience, all I had was sports, right? The best way to get started was through network marketing. And I had no idea what network marketing was, no idea. I just like, hey, actually, the first time I heard it, I thought it was marketing computer networks. I thought it was an IT job and IT business. But the more I learned about it, it's incredible. For a couple $100, you can make six figures and millions of dollars. But it sounds too good to be true. So I was very, very skeptical. But I spent a couple months researching, read a lot of books, and I found out, yeah, you could you could make the income if you work consistently in the business. So long story short, I just dove right in. I found a company, I joined it, and that was over 11 years ago. And when I started, I would love to say I was like Nancy, who had a success like that. Okay, I'm probably the opposite. She was like the youngest to become diamond director. I was not. When I first started, I made no money. I was just sharing with someone today. My first 2 months, I made zero. If you look at this, was my first check. It is kind of embarrassing. Most people show their checks. They show checks to show how much money they make. I'm actually showing when I made zero money. Look at the date, November 28, 2003, zero. Okay, zero. And now actually launched it, made $0. And even a month later, I still made zero. Okay, so a lot of you are probably on this, on this training, listening to this, you probably had a lot more success than I did. Now, but I knew the business worked, and then there was a big aha moment. It's like the turning point. And what was the turning point to my business? The turning point was I realized there was 5 fundamental skills, right? If you actually break this business down, there's 5 skills you have to learn. And once I mastered these skills, and you're going to learn a lot of the skills tonight, everything changed. Instead of making zeros, I started making small little checks, $100, and the $100 became $200, then it became $200 a week to $300, then $400, and then so on. And then, like I said, in 2012, I was the fastest growing distributor in our entire company, over 200 something thousand distributors. And my organization, which I tell you, the first 2 months when I made zero, it was like, my downline was the Lone Ranger, myself. But once I got these 5 fundamental skills, I have over 70,000 downlines. And this was just like a recent picture we took at an event. This is just from the Philippines alone. So I'll show you one thing if you want to see what happens today, what happens in my organization. This was a recent screenshot I took in my my back office, right? This is my downline management system. In a current week, this is what an average week, doing nothing. Okay, doing nothing. My current week, 880 people joined my team. Okay, and just the last week, over 1,000 people joined my business. And that is the power of network marketing. That's why people like Robert Kiyosaki, they talk about power of network marketing is leverage, passive income. But you do need certain skills, and it comes back to the 5 fundamental skills. Okay, 5 fundamental. So we're going to go right into the 5 fundamental skills now. And Nancy's going to come in to talk about marketing. That's the second one. But I want everyone to get a pen and paper out. Or if you have an iPad, iPhone, bring it out. And if you're using old school pen and paper, I want you to write on 2/3 of the paper on the right side. If you find something really big that you need to take action on, make a star and write action steps. Okay, I want you to get out of this training. Specific action steps you can do right away. Okay, not like a week from now. Meet it tonight. While you're excited, go home and take action steps, specific action steps, right? Now, if you're writing on, for example, your phone, and this is what I normally do on my phone, I'm using a notepad, right, on the iPhone, I would, at the top, right, I'll put action. And I'll type in notes, but any specific aha moments, I'll just copy and paste it at the top. So, because a lot of times when you go through these trainings, you have so many pages of notes, and you're not going to have the time because we're all busy, we have family, we have kids, we have other things going on, jobs, right? I did MLM part-time for the first 2.5 years. You don't have time to go through that stuff. So or what you do have time is you can go through the first couple lines, the action steps, and the important things for you to take action. So first skill you need to have is the inner game. Okay, inner game is learning how to overcome discouragement and challenges. In other words, how do the successful people think? Okay, how do successful people think? What is the difference? And I'm basically going to make this a working session, talk to you really quickly. There's the two different types of mindsets. Okay, and in my insider circle yesterday, I do a weekly training. I'm going to share with you a little bit more if you're interested in weekly training with me, between a winning mindset and a losing mindset. But there's a couple of things, okay? Number one of the major reasons I didn't make any money in my first 2 months is because I had an employee mindset. Okay? So what does it mean by an employee mindset? It means that, like, if there's no boss to tell you what to do, there's nothing to do, right? So think about it. At your job, if your boss doesn't give you assignments, you just go show up and you just maybe go on Facebook, go on ESPN.com, look, see what's going on in football, but you're not working, right? So that's the number one. You need someone to tell you what to do, right? So in this business, there's no boss. It's up for you to take action every single day. And the best part of this business, you can make as much money as you want, or you can make on the downside as little money as you want. It's all up to you, but you have to take action. So that's number one, employee mindset. Number two is employees, okay? So let's talk about entrepreneur mindset, okay? They're self-motivators. And I know motivation is tough sometimes. So you want a tip how you're going to be you want a tip in how to motivate yourself? Okay, and so maybe whether it's prospecting or reading a book or following up with a prospect that you know you should be doing but you're not doing, right? How many of you actually had that problem before? You feel like you should be doing something but you're not doing it, right? And then sometimes time goes by so fast, you don't even realize that, the whole day went by and you didn't do anything. Any of you had this issue before? Yes? Right? So one of the things, here's a tip, is you schedule it into the calendar. Schedule into calendar. Okay? If you put it into a calendar, if you write it down and put it in a calendar, chances are it would happen. All right? Because you get a prompt, you get a phone notification. It's a calendar. Now, if you don't put it in the calendar, what would happen is a lot of times we end up doing nothing. Because there's always so many other things you can be doing, right? So make sure you schedule whatever you need to do, schedule in the calendar. And it doesn't need to be 8 hours in a day. Someone asked me yesterday, well, should they take the 1 day, instead of working 5 days a week, work 4 days a week and spend 1 day building the business? I was like, definitely no, because you're not going to have anything to do for one full day. This business is about consistency. A little bit. And so schedule it to your calendar. It could be 30 minutes here, 20 minutes here. How I did it was in between basketball games, I will, during timeout breaks are like, especially during halftime, 15, 20-minute break, I'll make 1 or 2 follow-up phone calls. Okay, I actually signed up one person in the stadium once in Long Beach State during the Long Beach the summer league game. During a timeout break, I went there. During a quarter breaks, I'll go out there, make 1 or 2 phone calls, right? Or leave a voicemail, send a text. These are things, but you got to schedule it into your calendar, okay? Because there's no one out there to tell you what to do. You're your own boss. Second thing is employee mindset is, you work 8 hours, get paid 8 hours. All right? So you work 8 hours, you get paid 8 hours, correct? Now, if you ever go to your job and you work and you don't get paid, what would happen? Right? The company probably get in trouble, right? Now, if you work 10 hours, okay, let's say you work 10 hours, you probably get, what would you do? You would get 8 hours of pay and 2 hours of OT, right? That's the way it normally works. Okay. Now, in this business, you could be working your butt off and not get paid. Okay. Entrepreneurial mindset is different. Okay. And you have to learn, because you are an entrepreneur. You have your own business. Entrepreneur mindset is you work 8 hours, get paid 0. Well, you say, probably that's not fair. Well, it could get worse. You can work 20 hours and get paid for 1 hour. Right? Now, is that fair? Well, entrepreneurs like that, embrace that, because you will reach a time where maybe you work 1,000 hours, but you will get paid for 1 million hours. And that is how you achieve financial freedom. That's where the leverage comes in. But you don't get to that million hours, $1 million pay, until you're willing to go through the hours where you're working and not get paid. All right. Like in my MLM business, I've basically been retired. I haven't been active, but I still get paid every single week. Okay. Regardless, I do amount of work. Actually, my goal, believe it or not, is to work as least as possible to get paid, because that's the power of this business, residual income. But there was a time where I went out there, did meetings. I went to meetings where people didn't show up. I went to meetings where I talked to 5 prospects. I did 5 presentations, and I didn't get paid. I actually talked to 42 people to get my first sign up. And I actually calculated that 42 presentations took me I was basically paid below minimum wage. But now it's like a millionaire. I don't do anything. I still get paid. Right? So, and this applies to every type of business. So if you're discouraged and you're working hard and not get paid, hey, welcome. That is a good sign. That means you're in business. You don't have a job, right? When you signed up, you wanted to be an entrepreneur, correct? Ask yourself, is that correct? You want to be an entrepreneur. So if you're working hard and not getting paid the amount, well, that means you're building your business. And look at all types of people. Look at Mark Zuckerberg, right? He founded Facebook. He's worth, I think the last time I read, he's worth like $10 billion. When he was at his Harvard dorm room, staying up, pulling all-nighters, drinking coffee, programming, he's getting paid $0. That's like slave labor. Entrepreneurs are willing to put through that quote-unquote slave labor because one day they're going to make it big. So this is so important, because if things are not working out well for you, you think this business doesn't work, it definitely works. Okay, it definitely works. You just have to put in the time. And there will be a point where it will work, and then you get paid. Now, the second thing, if it's not working for you, right? The last thing I just want to share is, like, you can never criticize, complain, or condemn, right? And that's the route to be really successful. If you're complaining, or the products are too expensive, or the business doesn't work, or network marketing doesn't work, what happens is you're putting all the blame outward. And the secret to success, we all have the key to success. It's the way we look at things. Okay, your mindset, and this is what I talk about, the inner game, is all up here. If you have the inner game right, 90% of it right, your attitude, the way you approach, everything is easy. I was just talking to someone today where she became a rank in her company, an ambassador. She became a 6-figure income earner and this is rare, okay? This is not something that happens often. Like in 4 months, earning 6 figures. But she said it was all up here. What she did was investing everything in her mind. Because if you have the mind, every time it didn't work out for her, she'd go back, read the books, talk to her upline, attend trainings, and find out how could she be better, right? And it's all up here. So one thing is never criticize, complain. I don't care how bad your situation is. We all got problems. Trust me, there's always someone with worse problems than you do, okay? There's always someone with worse problems. So don't worry about the problems and stuff. Here's the thing. If you start blaming, you don't see the solution, right? Because you start talking about your problems, you're going to start seeing, you're going to start blaming, and then you're not going to, the whole key, it's like a chess game, right? 2 people look at a chess game. One person can see the right move, the other person can't see it. Now, if you keep blaming that, these pieces are too hard, this game is too hard, and this is not fair. If you have that type of attitude, would you ever be able to find a winning move in a chess game? You never would, right? You never would. But if you start thinking, hey, this is what I'm dealt with, how can I get better? That's what becomes solutions. And the key to being an inner game, and I'm going to end here, and we're going to shift to talking in marketing, is look inward. Find out, how could you be better? What mistakes did you make? Because that's when we learn. You want to embrace mistakes. Now, in school, and this Rich Dad Poor Dad talks about it, in school, mistakes are bad. In business, again, employee, mistakes are bad, right? Entrepreneur, mistakes are great. So entrepreneurs, they look inward. When you look inward, you become solution-oriented. And mistakes are great for learning. Because that's the only way you get better. Because humans, you have to understand, we don't like to change. We have our habits. We go to bed around the same time. We eat the same type of foods. We brush our teeth with the same hand. We take the showers around the same time. We drive on the same streets when we go to work, right? When we pick up our kids, even go to school, I take the same route. We don't like to change, so we don't learn. The only way to learn is when we make a mistake. And mistakes forces us to say, hey, what did I do? What can I be better? So whatever challenges you have right now, maybe is you can't sponsor someone, you can't invite someone, or you can't close prospects, or maybe you can't duplicate. Whatever it is, you can't criticize and complain. It's never the industry's fault. Look inward. It's something that you're doing, and often it's just a small little tinkering, small little adjustment. But it's you're on this webinar. You know you're on the right step. You want to learn, and so I congratulate for being on here. I mean, I know we have people from different places, some familiar friends here, part of my insider circle. We're people from Perth, we're people from New York, from anyone from New York to Mexico, like Alberto, to Texas, like Jared Krebs, to Perth, Australia, like Janet. We have people worldwide. Josie Tong from Sydney, and you're on here, so you want to learn and get better, right? So that's the thing. If things are not going well, again, look inward, look for the solutions. And making mistakes is good. And the only reason I'm here, I can do this training, I've had the success I've had, is because I've made a ton of mistakes. And some of them are really embarrassing, some are not as embarrassing, but I've made tons of mistakes, and that's why I can share them. And that's where I got. So that's the thing. Inner game. I just want to recap. Schedule. First action step you can do is right now, write down, when are you going to work on your business tomorrow or tonight? You want a consistent time where you can prospect. Okay, and I say tonight because we're at different times. We have Joe Brand out in Christchurch, New Zealand. Different people from different countries here. So it's really a world. John from Vancouver. So write it down. When's a consistent time you got to prospect? If it's not in the calendar, it's not going to happen. Number two is notice that you're working hard and not getting paid. That's okay. Every entrepreneur goes through that. If things are not working out, don't criticize. Okay, complain, because that prevents you from seeing the solution. Okay, you will. As long as you focus inward, you see the solution. And mistakes are good. Okay, mistakes are good because they help you learn. And that's the only way we want. Because if it wasn't for mistakes, we get in our comfort zones. We don't change. So that's the inner game. I want to move on to second part about marketing. And marketing is really attracting prospects online and offline. And I'm going to touch briefly for 1 minute, and then Nancy, you're going to get ready. I'm going to make you a presenter soon, Nancy. But with marketing, people buy your change. Okay, people buy your change. I have a blog post coming out, I think in a couple of hours, talking about one of the best gifts you can give people is self-development. You give books. Phil Jackson, one of the all-time, probably the most famous basketball coach ever, because he coached Michael Jordan and then Kobe Bryant, very famous. He won 10 championships. He used to give books to his players because he realized if you develop the mind, the player becomes better. It's not about shooting the jump shots or who runs fast, who jumps higher. It's all in the mindset. It's all the inner game. And when you give a gift, I'm telling you, you basically grow prospects, because prospects realize, hey, you used to watch TV and now you're reading books. What's going on? Even if they were skeptical and didn't take you seriously, they will start taking you seriously. So one of the best gifts you can give this year, instead of giving another T-shirt, sweatshirt, or appliance, or all the stuff that in a couple of years is going to be people are going to forget about, meaningless, give something to last a lifetime. Because when you give us something like wisdom, giving a gift, not only are you giving a gift that lasts forever, but people will be really impressed at what you are. If you have people who are skeptical or don't treat your business seriously, you start giving gifts like books and start talking about different things, they'll be impressed. That's what happened to my friends. Simon, what are you doing? How come you're doing this? Right? Why are you so serious about books? Then they become good prospects. Okay, and that's how you attract people, by improving yourself. So with that said, I really want to, Nancy worked hard. She's got a really amazing presentation. I'm going to make her the presenter now. And she's going to talk about online marketing, okay, advanced social media tips and strategies. So Nancy, I think you have.
Hi.
Hey, Nancy. All right.
Well, thank you so much for the introduction, and I definitely learned a lot from you too as well, Simon. Again, Simon's one of my mentors. I learn from him every week, and I'm very, very lucky to be able to learn from him. He's done amazing things, and his story is so inspiring in his own right. I know he always talks about my story, how I was that person that wasn't meant to be successful, But for him, to have the slower result, but to be the #1 fastest growing distributor in the entire company with 70,000 people now, that's a very inspiring story to have that persistence to keep on going. So I'm very excited to share my part of the training today, and it is about social media. Social media is one of my most favorite things to do. I didn't know I was good at it until I started doing it, and I realized more and more that almost all of my prospects and all of my people are coming from online now, and these people I don't even know. So there's definitely got to be something that I was doing that actually works. And over time, I was able to collect the data and to really analyze what I'm doing and start doing them on purpose versus on accident. And now I'm able to do a lot of trainings on them. So I'm very excited to share that with you. Can you see my screen? Let's see.
Wait, Nancy. We're good.
Can you see my screen? Okay, cool. I'm going to start playing this. So before I do get into the social media tips, I'll just share my story real quick for all the people here that don't know it. This was me. If you guys are on a laptop, you guys can see this. This was me with no future. I was a boba girl. I worked at the tapioca store, and I know you guys have one, especially if you're in Long Beach or even Australia. I was there a few times, so I know you guys have these pearls. Everyone calls it different things. We call it boba in San Jose. You guys have your own fancy name, but basically what it is, they're milk tea drinks or smoothies with the little tapioca balls in there. And I made those drinks for 4 years. And I didn't see myself having a future there, but I was stuck. I was really, really stuck because of my lack of my resume. I didn't have the best credentials. I did not do very well in school. I had really no motivation for school, and I had no job experience. So I was stuck there for quite some time just thinking about life. And I think if you guys do visit boba stores, you'll start to realize why the girls that work there are so grouchy, right? I was one of them. And I was actually working for one of my close friend's mom. And the funny thing is that my close friend, she never even worked there. She would come in on the weekends, make herself some drinks, and she would leave. Basically, that business was funding her college education at San Francisco University. And we went to the same school, like me and that girl, we grew up in the same elementary school and grade school. And then she went off to college, and I ended up working for her parents' shop. So it dawned on me that I was basically working for minimum wage to support my friend's college education, and she was going to go off and pursue something much bigger. So I got really depressed. I'm like, man, this sucks in my life. So eventually I got into other jobs and stuff like that. I started doing loan processing. I worked in the cubicle. At the time I thought that was a major upgrade, that I get to work in a cubicle. But little did you know that was even worse, because I was confined in this little box. I wasn't really able to socialize, and I was stuck doing paperwork all day, every day, 9 to 5. And not only that, I would get stuck in traffic for an hour and a half going to work and coming home from work. And oftentimes when you're stuck in traffic, what do? You think about life, and I was contemplating my future and really not seeing one. So I really felt emotionally I was at rock bottom, and I just needed something more. I knew I was more talented than this. I knew I was worth more than this, but for some reason, I just needed an opportunity. I just needed a chance to prove myself, because no other job field would let me based on my resume. And network marketing came into my life when I was 20 years old. I was about to turn 21. And who would have thought that this would have been the field that ended up being my calling? It was really, really strange. But my friend, she was the one that got involved in it first, and she pulled me to do it with her. And of course, I was skeptical. I was a very negative person, very low self-esteem, low confidence, not a people person whatsoever. So when my friend told me to do it, I was just like, I was really hesitant, very reluctant, but I was a good friend. So I'm like, you know what, if you really want me to do it with you, fine, I'll do it with you. Not that I was super ecstatic about it, but eventually I just gave it a shot. And then I went to training, and that was when everything turned around for me. I've learned things in that training that I've never even learned in my entire life, from school, from my parents, from anybody. I never learned the type of philosophies that you can learn in network marketing. And one phrase that really stood out to me, and it just never left me for all these years, is that your attitude towards life is life's attitude towards you. And for the longest time of my existence, I always thought that whatever happens to you is already destined to happen to you. I felt I was meant to live a mediocre life. I felt I was meant to be below average. But when I learned that I could control my own life and I could be in charge of my future and I could dictate whether I become a successful or whether I fail, I didn't know I had that type of control. So and linked up with an opportunity to let me utilize that mentality. I went all in. After that point, I went all in, and I decided I have nothing to lose. In fact, I have nothing in at all to even lose anything. So I had so much more to gain. I felt that I would have more to lose if I didn't do this opportunity. So I went all in. I didn't see any other way of becoming successful. And within a month and a half, I quit all my jobs. You know, at the time I was actually working 3 jobs. I quit them all at once, you know, being that person that I am. I'm not telling you guys how to do that, but I knew myself. I knew I needed that push. I knew I needed a deadline. I knew I needed some sort of thing to make me uncomfortable in order for me to succeed. And it's been, I don't know, it's been so many years. So I haven't had a job since my first 1.5 months of being introduced to network marketing, and it's been 8 years since. It's taken pretty good care of me, so I'm very, very thankful. And here are some of, here's my organization at a recent Super Saturday, and this came from a boba tea girl, you know, who, like I said, I wasn't meant to be successful here, but because the system and the training and everything is so easy to learn and is so duplicatable, and you just have to learn how to help others be empowered and take it full force, nothing can stop you. Nothing can stop you when you have leverage. And I don't know, this is me. And for me, I feel that everyone has their own definition of success. And for some, it could be the fancy cars, it could be the nice house, it could be anything. For me, I love my freedom, and I love to travel. I feel this world is so big, and I'm just one tiny person, and I need to see as much of the world as I possibly can before I'm too old to do it. So I went on a crazy travel spree for like a year, and I went everywhere, and I didn't really need to worry about when I go. A lot of these trips, they were booked on the same week, if not like 2 days in advance of going to these different countries. And you know, just to name a few: Rome, Vancouver, Spain, Italy, Bahamas, Cozumel, Belize, Mexico City, Cabo, France, all over Europe. Sydney, Melbourne. I know a lot of people on the call are from Sydney and Melbourne. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. Greece. I actually stayed in Greece for 2 weeks by myself, just because I'm like, you know, why not? I just wanted to try it. I didn't know if I could do the solo traveling, but I realized it's definitely an interesting experience. And if you haven't done it, you got to see if you like it or not. It's definitely an acquired type of thing. And I went to London. I was in Indonesia, Bali, and that was probably one of my most favorite places to visit. I was able to go to Hong Kong, Macau, Vietnam. And these pictures that I'm showing you, these are the actual resorts I stayed in. So, you know, you can Google it. There are beautiful luxury high-end resorts, and I've always wanted to at least try it out. And it was so amazing. And this probably got to be the most epic, the most beautiful resort I've ever stayed in Ubud, Bali. And this one I pulled out of the top 10 destinations that you must visit off of this destination website. And I'm like, you know, I got to go here. And I took the picture, I Googled it, found it, booked it. Within a few days, I was there. So my definition of success, obviously, is to be happy, fulfilled, and to be living with a purpose, but also to have the freedom to do what you want to do. And believe it or not, while I was there traveling, I was making Skype phone calls, you know, to my team. So I was still working. However, it's definitely not the same way that I used to hustle before. Kind of like what Simon was saying. Like he's retired. I don't think I'm retired yet, but I definitely am not hauling 10 guests to every presentation like I used to. So like I said, I mean, like Simon said, it's hard at the beginning, but later on, you make so much more doing so much less. It's such an amazing, ingenious system. I don't know why I didn't hear of it sooner. So it's definitely changed my life. So I'm going to go straight into social media marketing now. A lot of my prospects come from it, and I want to share with you guys some of the advanced tips. I don't need to go over all the basic stuff. I'm sure a lot of you guys already have Facebook, already post on it, already know how to use it. So I'm going to give you guys some things that are not so common sense. So first off, I want to tell you guys that you don't need hundreds of thousands of friends to be a very good social media marketer. Some people have mistaken that that's what you need, because I know some people have Instagram and you see these little kids, 14-year-olds, have 100,000 friends. I don't know how they do it, right? I'm not trying to train you how to do that. I don't know how to do that. And I'm making it so that it's very basic and you can actually start from where you are and just watch it grow, and it'll still work just as well. For me, it's more about quality than it is about quantity. And, you know, we all been approached by these people that spam on Facebook or they spam on Instagram, right? They're like, oh, do you want to turn $6 into 600? And they just send the same dang message to every single person. That's not what we're trying to do here. That's not, I don't think that's a very classy way of marketing. It'll actually make you look bad, in my opinion. So I'm going to talk about just starting where you are, and it will grow. So first thing that you do need to decide is, what is your niche? Do you want to be known as being this young entrepreneur? Do you want to be a health guru or a health coach or a beauty expert? Or do you want to just promote freedom and travel, lifestyle? Really think about what your passion is and tie that in with your business, because you need a niche so that you're not so random. I think a lot of people, a mistake they do is that their Facebook or their Instagram is just too random. I don't know what you're into, what you're marketing. It seems like you're marketing someone else's product, and then all of a sudden you're marketing your own product, and you're sharing someone else's thing. It's not honed in on a certain niche enough for people to say, okay, go to this girl, this is what she's good at. Oh, go to him for this. You know what I mean? So find out what your niche is and make sure your posts, all of them, have some sort of element to relate to that niche. It's okay once in a while if you have something random, that's cool, but if it's every single post is something different, you won't be able to capture an audience because you're just too random and you're not known for anything. So once you develop your niche, then you utilize that niche to market your product or your business. For example, let's say you're a yoga instructor. You could be more about, you know, the meditation, the yoga healthy lifestyle, eating right, that Zen thing, massages, whatnot. You can be about that, but implement the product that you're marketing into that, because having that niche actually puts you as an expert in a certain category, and then once you integrate a product or something with it, then people will feel like you're more credible to talk about that product. Just make sure it's congruent. And what I mean by that is, you don't want to be all about partying, you know, all about partying, and yet you're marketing a health product. Does that make sense? It has to be at least in the same arena. The next tip I want to share with you guys is, don't just share quotes. I see a lot of people sharing other people's quotes or just copying, pasting quotes that they find online, and they just post it up and they're like a billboard for other people's quotes. It's cool that you like the quote, but anyone can Google that and find it themselves. Why would they need to go to you, and why would that do anything, you know, for them? So what I would do if you like a certain quote, and I do this a lot, is I'll attach my own story about that quote first, and then I'll add the quote maybe on the bottom as a closing. It's like, oh, like Dr. Dennis Waitley said, and then I'll put his quote. But before his quote, I'll put my story that relates to that quote. Does that make sense? So stories are very powerful. It really, it shows that you are not just, you know, reciting someone else's quote without having any experience, without really understanding it, without going through it yourself. You want to be someone that they're like, you know what, they're living what they're preaching. So that's a big one. Express how you feel about it versus just blindly sharing other people's stuff. And this one's very unique. I never really trained on this, but it's something that I've always been very, very cautious of, and I think it's helped me a lot in my marketing, is be personable, but don't be overly vulnerable. And some people don't know the difference between being vulnerable and being personable. You can be personable and let people relate to you and feel you and say, you know what, I can feel that girl. You know, I can feel like I get him, and I can feel like he gets me, so I like him, right? That's being personable. But being vulnerable is where now you're being way too detailed, way too explicit about the things that are going on in your life, and it can even come off as negative. And yeah, you may relate with a certain situation that other people have went through, but you're nowhere near inspiring them. In fact, you're now putting yourself at a lower level because you're being too open about things that you shouldn't be too open about. It should be, some things are meant to be private, I'll tell you that. And I'm all about social media and connecting with your audience and building that trust. But again, you might have hundreds of strangers who, this is TMI, too much information. Leave the drama to yourself. But if you do have drama, you can always spin it in a positive way, right? There's always a way to turn a negative situation and reword it and play with the context of it, and or just lighten it up a little bit to make it personable, versus now you're being really vulnerable or very emotional. That's not what you want. People are not inspired by people who are overly emotional. And plus, we don't want to hear about your drama anyways. Not to be mean. And the next thing is engage your audience. People care more about themselves than they do about you. I'm sorry, that's just the way life is. They want to hear themselves talk. They want to hear their opinion. They want to see their opinion on your wall. So that's a good way of getting more traffic onto your page. Ask open-ended questions. And I do this sometimes. I don't do it all the time. If you did it all the time, then now your strategy is just too obvious, right? So sometimes I'll be like, so I went through this today. So what are some of your thoughts if you would have went to that? Or something I just recently posted, that I was actually recording my social media product, and the last thing that I recorded was about selfies. You know, people that take so many selfies every single day, different angles of their face, 10 times a week, right? And you know, if that was their profession, let's say they're a supermodel and they make money off that, fine, great, or they're a celebrity, great. But people who just do that on a regular basis just for the heck of it, I don't know. And let's say if they're in business, I just don't know if that would help their business. And if it does, it wouldn't be the proper way of doing it. You're probably getting attention like through the wrong avenue, and maybe these are not the type of people that you want in your business. But anyway, I was recording a segment on that, and I have my own opinion on that. Everyone has their own opinion on it, but I wanted to ask my audience what they thought about it. So I just posted online. I said, you know, I just recently did a video session on selfies and excessive selfie posting. What are your thoughts? I did not impose my own opinion on that post. I wanted to hear everyone else's opinion. And I got a bunch of people replying on it, saying all these things, people coming out of the woodworks that never liked my stuff. All of a sudden, they're chatting on my stuff. And that's cool. That just means that it's drawing traffic. So then, you know, maybe the debate will get heated, because maybe if you ask a question that's a little bit controversial, people will start getting into like a more heated debate. You don't have to participate in a heated debate, but it's not necessarily a bad thing that is going on on your page, because that draws, again, traffic to your page. But you don't have to impose your opinion if you don't want to. You can simply be the moderator and let other people debate themselves. The thing about Facebook is the more people interact on your page, the more people will see your posts on their news feeds, because you're connecting with their friends. So even strangers will start seeing your posts, and hey, that's a good thing. That is a good thing, and that's what you want to do. But in terms of controversy and all that stuff, I have more of these tips on my social media product that's going to come out in December, and later on I'll give you guys a link to sign up for that. But last but not least are photos. Photos, you can post a simple photo and it can have a big effect or it can have no effect at all. So for me, I like to maximize the effect. One, you got to make sure your photo quality is good. I don't like blurry pictures or a low quality photo, and if I could take a picture of a sunset, I'm going to make sure it looks nice. I'm not going to take a crappy one and post it for no reason. Just because, why, right? Why don't you spend that extra time, make it look better? And perspective, what I mean by perspective is there's certain ways for you to take pictures that from a certain angle that is just so much more telling and so much more powerful than if you were to take it just straight on. So, you know, that's a little bit more being artistic and whatnot, but if you can get better at that, get better at it. Captioning is always a very effective way of marketing, and if you can come up with a really clever caption, if you include a call to action at the end, call to action means you're getting someone to take action. So you could take a picture of you maybe presenting or doing some sort of business, and then at the end, like, if you want in, let me know if you want in, or join the movement today. You know, something like that is a call to action. Sometimes if people post pictures of themselves doing something but there's no call to action, then people might just think that's your day job. They're like, oh, okay, well, this person looks like they work for a corporate, maybe, I don't know, or they're at a business seminar for their company, I don't know, but they don't know that you're actually trying to expand your team or that you're trying to market something. And sometimes people just need you to be direct and tell them straight up. But I'm not saying for you to do that in every single post. It's just appropriately, you know, apply that tactic. The next thing is action shots versus poses. And again, these are more advanced. I don't really cover this on like the basic knowledge of it, but there's a difference between action shots and poses. Poses is when you're taking a picture and you're just posing, you're smiling at the camera. You could be dressed nice, great. It's going to be a nice photo. You'll get a lot of likes. But there's a difference between that and an action shot. An action shot is when you are actually conducting business and you're dressed up in your business outfit and you're signing someone up, or you're sharing the business with someone and someone snapped a photo of you doing it, like literally taking action, and that's a picture. That has more effect than poses. Poses is like, oh, this person's attractive, cool, great, like, right? But if it's an action shot, it's like, oh, this person's motivated, this person's on the go, this person's active in their business. That has more of a, what do you call it? It's more magnetic and it's more effective, way more effective than just regular pose pictures, okay? And cool. And the next thing is subliminal guerrilla marketing. I learned this from Simon Chan as well. And that's, here, I'll show you. In fact, you know, if you guys can look. Okay, these are action shots, in case you guys want to see. 2 reps presenting the opportunity at Starbucks. This one, reps presenting the opportunity in my office. And these are action shots. They're not looking, it's candid, and you're displaying them taking action. So these are good. These are more subliminal. Well, not really. They're not really subliminal, but they are. That you are doing marketing without really trying to market. So if you look in the top right, that's a picture of my latte. I forgot what type. It was a velvet cake latte. It was red velvet latte, and I was doing a one-on-one with somebody. And you know, I posted that picture. Yes, I love coffee and I love my lattes and things like that. But in the back, you can kind of see what I'm trying to do, right? So you can either take a picture of just a latte and not do much. You'll get some people to like that just because they like lattes. But you can also post a picture of your latte and have some business tools in the background, or have some products kind of laying around, whatever. This is more subliminal, and it's a little bit more, it's not as obvious that you're trying to market anything. And believe it or not, it is. You are selling. You are selling without doing it so overtly. And the one to the left is just, you know, I actually took this from one of my reps' Facebook. She was having her last meal before she flies off to Taiwan. She's a new rep of mine, and she put the product that we market in front of her food, in front of the food that she's eating. And her caption was really unique. I don't think she did this on purpose, but it had a really good effect. Her caption was just like, oh, this is my last meal before I fly off to Taiwan, and start my new life there, or start my new business there, whatever. And that photo got a lot of attention from all her friends saying, have a safe flight, take care, be safe. Tons of her friends commented on that, and I'm sure it wasn't because of that product that was placed there in that photo. It was because of her caption saying that, it's my last meal. So she's subliminally marketing to all these people, and they don't even know it. They don't even know it, and I don't know, maybe she knows it, maybe she doesn't, but I'm definitely gonna tell her that, she's doing a great job with social media, and she, maybe this could be her niche too. So hopefully that helped you guys. These are some of my advanced tips. I have a lot more. Trust me, I have hours of stuff just like this, and I want to share it with you guys in December. I'm really working really hard to meet my deadline, because I really want to get this out to you guys. So it's not out yet, but if you guys want to get on my wait list, so when it does come out, you'll get a notification and you could be the first to get your hands on it. Trust me, it will blow up your business online. And you guys can go to nancyon.com/social-media. Go on there and fill in your email and name and stuff like that, and then I'll send you guys an email blast to let you guys know right when it gets off. So once again, it's nancyon, nancyon.com/social-media, and that's it. So that's it for my part. So thanks, Simon, for having me, and I hope you guys learned a lot.
Thank you, Nancy. Okay, that's awesome. Let me get back to presenter. Hold on. All right. Thank you so much for that training. Really valuable. Can you all hear me? Can you all hear me? Really good stuff. I'm telling you, this is something you definitely want to. Nancy's training is definitely something you want to get. I mean, talk about aha moments, right? What are some aha moments you had? I'll share 2 things you can immediately do. Okay. Hopefully you wrote down your action steps and what you want, you should be able to. Right after this webinar, you could do something. Okay. And if you don't know, I'll give you 2 things. Okay. Number 1 is you should. One of the things that's easy to do, instead of just posting quotes up, post one of your experiences with the quotes. I'm telling you, everyone is posting quotes nowadays. And when everyone is doing something, you got to be doing something different. Otherwise, it just becomes kind of like, the first time someone had a billboard, first time someone had a TV commercial, they thought it was so cool. Everyone sees it now. You have to do something different. And one thing, really, if you want to study from Nancy. She's very good at engagement. And she brought up a great point. When people talk about it, whether it's good or bad and negative, that is a good thing, because whether, the worst thing then is no one talking about you at all, right? So whether it's good or bad, that's a good thing, because people are paying attention to you. And not everyone's going to agree with what you say, but you don't worry about it. For every person that says no, don't like it, there's a lot of people that will agree with what you post on there. So definitely you want to, I would go to Nancy's website. I'll pull up the link again. You definitely want to sign up for that. And it's going to be a waiting list. And when that comes on, you will definitely know about it. And it's coming on, I think, in the next couple of weeks, very quickly. Before Christmas, will be out there. I know she's working around the clock on that, literally around the clock on it. So very excited to hear about that. So thank you, Nancy. And a common question that people have been asking, can I get the slides? I mean, have the stuff that Nancy went over, the stuff I shared, has it been helpful? Yes, I mean, you can comment down there, post up, I can see the comments. Has it been helpful to you so far? All right, we see the comments coming in. Okay, if you want to get the slides, okay, if you want to get the slides, this is what you do. Okay, send an email. But you need to do just sending an email. We want feedback. We plan to do. I mean, Nancy's working on her product. She is doing coaching. She's helping other, especially Gen Y women having success in MLM. She wants feedback, right? So give us 2 things. Number 1, on the email, let us know how this webinar has helped you. Okay. And number 2, let us know one specific tip or strategy that you learned that you can't apply immediately? Okay, because if we're teaching you the stuff and you can't apply it, then I'm telling you, to me and Nancy, we feel that we have failed you. But we worked hard. We want to give you steps that you can actually apply. So we want your feedback. So if you want these slides, we'll give us like a couple of days. We'll get them out to you. We'll upload to a server where you can download. But again, the instructions is send an email to SimonWChan at SimonWChan.com. Very simple. Two things. Number one, let us know how this webinar has helped you. You can write a couple words, sentence, a paragraph, whatever you want. It's totally up to you. And let us know one specific strategy that you can learn, that you can apply immediately. Okay. One specific thing I know that is very easy to do: quotes. Add your feeling about the quotes and increase that engagement. Okay, so let's move on. We have about like 35 minutes left. I'm going to speed through as quickly as possible. I know it's getting late out in the East Coast. I know some of you actually in Australia taking time in the middle of the day to listen to this. So we also want to save maybe 5-10 minutes for questions. All right, so let's move on. So what are the 5 skills? Number 1 was my inner game, right? You got to get your inner game. Number 2 was marketing. And we just had a great, amazing session with social media marketing from Nancy. The third skill is prospecting. Okay, and tell you, most people think prospecting is the first thing they need to do, right? Which is, again, it all starts with number 1, the inner game, right? The inner game. If you have the right mindset, like Nancy just shared, where she learned in the beginning that your attitude in life, how you view life is how life is going to view you. Your attitude towards life is how life's attitude towards you. So if you have a bad attitude, you're the bad inner game. None of this stuff matters, right? So you got to work on the inner game. And that's something we consistently cover in my coaching groups. And Nancy does as well. Second is marketing, getting the leads. Number 3 is prospecting. So prospecting, real quick, I'm going to cover the 5 deadly mistakes that people make in network marketing. Okay, 5 deadly mistakes. And how do I know these really well? Because I'm embarrassed to say, I used to make them, okay? And making them cost me a lot of money. Or you can say, didn't make any money in my first 2 months in the business, okay? So what are the 5 deadly mistakes? The first deadly mistake is when you talk to people, you're trying to sponsor everyone, right? It's kind of like when Nancy said, when you're in social media, you're just blasting about your products, how great the company is. That totally turns people off, right? You're not out there to try to sponsor everyone. You're out there. What you're looking to do is letting people know about the business, okay? And the best way to put an analogy is like I always talk about sushi. I love Japanese food, sushi restaurant. If you open a sushi restaurant, am I going to get all my friends, everyone I know, to eat at my sushi restaurant that night, right? And my friends like, Simon, I'm not hungry. Oh, it doesn't matter. You got to come check out my restaurant, right? They'll be like, they'll probably what's going to happen, ignore me, and they'll disappear forever. Because even if they wanted to eat sushi, they have such a bad experience with me nagging them, they'll never come to my restaurant, right? Maybe what about our friend who doesn't like sushi? Oh, it's disgusting. You get tapeworms, you get worms, you get sick. I don't want to eat Japanese. But I'll say, oh no, but sushi is so much healthier than Italian food. Try to convince them, right? It'll turn them off, and they will never give me a referral. So the first mistake you make is you're trying to get everyone to join the business. And that's not the point. You're out there just letting them know about your own business. Like you open a Japanese restaurant, you open a boba store like when Nancy used to work. You're just letting people know, hey, I have a store, I have a new business, come take a look. Well, let me know if you're interested or not. And if you're not pushy, what happens is most people, I'll tell you, will not be interested. But if you approach them the right way, they will be interested later on. Because there's never, and write this down, there's never a bad prospect, just the wrong time for the right prospect, right? There was a time when Nancy, probably, wasn't interested. It was up to the point where she was driving and work. She said, hey, I deserve more than I get paid. She was a great prospect. If you talked to her when she was right out of high school, she just wanted to do other things. She wanted to get a job, right? Same thing. I was at my MBA. I had a dream job, right? I was planning to hang out with NBA players. I would never be interested. So the first deadly mistake is don't try to go out to sponsor everyone. Just letting people know about the business. If they're not interested, don't try to convince them to attend a presentation. It just, what happens is you just create such a bad experience that later on, they will never come back to you. But if you end with a good experience with your prospects, they may not join today, but they will join later on. And I know Nancy's had people come back to her. I've had a lot of people who weren't interested in the beginning, but they'll come back. The longer you stay in the business, the easier the business gets. Okay, so that's prospecting mistake number 1. Deadly mistake number 2 is you start the business. You only talk to your close friends and family. Right? And here's the ironic thing. I'll tell you, I wish it wasn't the case, but your close friends and family are normally the most negative people and will not join. And, Nancy can share that with you, with her family, right? Your close friends and family, they're not going to join the business. Now, even if they do join the business, they are probably just going to support you. Most of the time, they don't go all out and build. Okay, your superstars, the people who are interested in joining the business, are people you least expect will be interested. And why is that? Because remember, there's never a bad prospect, just the wrong time. Your friend, let me ask you: do most of your friends tell you the troubles and problems that are happening in their lives, the stress, the family pressures? Do they openly tell you what's going on, the finances or their personal life? Do they tell you that? What do you think? Yes or no? Right? Do they tell you? Do they openly tell you, a lot of them? Right? Now, maybe you're close friends, but what about the people they don't know well? You don't know well. And that could be the mailman. That could be the postman. The people you don't know well, acquaintances. Do they go openly and share with you what their problems are? Do you think they'll share with you the financial problems? Right? They know, right? Most people don't know you well. They won't. But that's the beautiful. Because they don't, a lot of them are great prospects. Okay? They're great prospects because they are open for the opportunity. But what we do is, we only talk to our close friends. But I'll tell you, our close friends, they know us too well. My close friends, they knew that when I was I talked about when I went to university, college, there was a time in freshman year, I couldn't even wake up for a 2 p.m. class. Embarrassing enough, right? 2 p.m. I couldn't even wake up for a class because I'll be show up late on time. So my friends know me too well. Whatever I say, they won't take me seriously. But the people who don't know you well, all my leaders who helped me build my business, passive income business, were people I never knew well or acquaintances. Okay, some of my close friends joined. They basically became customers, but none of them became superstars. And it's the same way where if you're married or maybe you're dating someone, the person, your spouse or your boyfriend or girlfriend, it's not someone that was your best friend, right? Normally it's a friend of a friend or a friend, correct? Or maybe you met them cold market, you met them online, but it's normally not someone you know. So that's why the second deadly mistake is you're talking to only your close friends and family. If you do that, let's go back to this before we move on. Let's go back to the sushi restaurant. If you open a sushi Japanese restaurant, are you only going to tell your close friends and family about it? Or are you going to tell everyone? You tell everyone, right? Even your friends who don't like Japanese food. Maybe they don't like Japanese. Will you still tell them? You still tell them because maybe they have a friend that likes Japanese food, correct? So that's number 2. Okay. Third deadly mistake that people make is they only include prospects they think will join. They prejudge the prospects. They say, that person's not going to be interested. That is very related to mistake number 2. You're prejudging people. You never know. Okay, your neighbor who thinks he's very happy all the time says hi, but you don't know him well. He may be a great prospect because you don't know what he's going through in his life. You don't know his personal financial statements. You don't know if he's in debt. You don't know those type of things. So if you're not talking to them, you're basically cutting off your list, right? And I'm sharing with you, your superstar. Write this down. This is the big aha moment for me. Your superstars are normally not someone you know well. It's normally an acquaintance or a friend of an acquaintance. It's not someone you know really, really well. Okay? And I just came, I network and meet with other 6-7 figure income earners, and they all said the same thing. Normally, it's not someone you sponsored directly either. It's normally someone that you sponsored and they brought in someone else. Okay, so it's not someone you know well. So don't prejudge your prospects. Let's get back to the Japanese restaurant. If you had a Japanese restaurant, are you going to say, I don't think he looks like he likes Japanese food. I'm not going to tell him. That would be ridiculous. You tell everyone about it. It doesn't matter what type of business. You have a new car dealership. You're going to tell everyone you open a car dealership. You don't say, that guy doesn't like to buy, I sell Toyotas. He doesn't like Toyotas. I'm not going to tell him. I'm only going to tell people who like Toyotas, right? He doesn't look like he likes Toyotas. I'm not going to tell him. Isn't that ridiculous? That sounds like the most ridiculous thing, right? It's the same thing with your business, so don't make that mistake. The fourth deadly mistake is you selling the business and not the meeting. Okay, when you approach the person, you're talking way too much about the business. And this is especially true if you're new. Now, let me ask you, do most people like to do sales? Most people out there in the world, do they like to do sales? Do they like to do sales? Do they like to do sales presentations right? Do they like? No, they don't. Most people do not like to do sales. So if you are going out there and talking, like doing a sales presentation, you're basically telling them, if you sign up in this business, you'll be doing sales presentations like me. So, wow, do you think they'll be impressed? Do you think they will get excited to do the business? Of course not. They'll be great. I'm going to go out there and talk to people I don't like to talk to. I'm not a good presenter. Most people are scared of presenting, public speaking. So the fourth daily mistake is when you approach someone, just let them know in the business you're not there to officially do a presentation. Okay, what you should be doing is take them to your upline or to a meeting, or you could use a tool like a online video, a DVD, a newsletter, something that helps them explain the business. But you yourself, you're not going to talk. And the more you talk, the more you talk, right, the worse it gets. Okay, the worse and I've done presentations. I thought, talk about back to my old first year in the business. I thought I was so good. I can do it on the phone. I don't need my upline. I can do all the talking. The more I talked, the more I turned off people. Okay, because they were like, they don't want to do what I'm doing. Okay, they said, well, you know what they said? They said, Simon, you have with the time. You went to college. You're very smart. You can do these presentations. I'm really busy. I have 2 kids. You don't have kids. I have 2 kids. And this is when I was much younger, right? So you don't have kids, Simon. I have 2 kids. I don't have time to learn how to study and talk like you. So you lose people, right? So what big aha moment what I learned was, hey, I invite someone. Hey, I tell them, hey, I have a new business. Say, tell me about the business. I'll set up a 3-way call, get my upline. Or my upline was busy, I send them an online presentation. Take a look at this. After you look at it, then we will talk. That makes it much more easy. It's also, if you sign up people, you're not getting duplication because your downlines are probably thinking they got to do presentations like you. They got to talk like you. And no one likes to do presentations. And the learning curve is too steep for that. The 5th deadly mistake is, you're approaching the prospects the same way. Okay? The 3 different type of prospects, and I want to make it really short, is S, O, and W. S prospects, okay? S prospects are people more successful than you. O prospects, and I'm going to, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put this, show you some slides here. Okay, hold on. I'm going to show some slides. I'll write down the 3 type of prospects here. Okay, 3 type of prospects, S, O, and this is basically my SO sponsoring system, okay? S are prospects who are more successful than you, okay? More successful than you. O stands for prospects on the same level as you, okay? W are prospects that are worse than you or they want to be like you, all right? So everyone here, someone that is more successful than you in their career. And when we talk about success, we're talking about financially or career-wise. Okay, success is a very relative term, a relative meaning. So we're just talking about financial and business-wise. So more successful than you could be a boss, could be a local real estate agent that's very successful. These are people who are more successful than you. Number 2 is O, people who are on the same level as you. These are your friends or peers that you know very well. These are the close friends and family. A lot of times they're very negative. Okay, the O. W is people who are worse than you, or they look up to you. Maybe a little young brother, little cousin, or maybe your assistant, your secretary, that obviously because of your hierarchy, they look up to you and they'll listen to you. So with SOW, the successful people, you basically edify them and ask them whether ask them whether it's willing to take a look. Okay, and you could actually get this on my blog, on my website. I don't want to go too much into detail, but successful people, I'll say, hey, you know what? John, how's it going, John? You're one of the most successful people I know, and I just work with a business here with this business partner, Nancy, and we're looking for people in the San Jose area that's very smart and business-oriented, open-minded, and you're one of the first people I thought about. You're someone I look up to. Would you mind taking a 2-3 minute phone call to learn more about what we're doing? Right, that is simple, like that. You edify them and you invite them to third party. Okay, or if you don't have an upline, you give them a tool. But the key is you don't present to them because they will never buy from you, right? They don't look up to you. You look up to them. So why should they listen to you, right? So you have to edify the upline or your team or use a tool. A second type is O, on the same level. These, okay, I'm telling you, are the most difficult people to get because they know you too well, right? How many of you can think of a friend that or your family member, especially family siblings, right? Siblings never do what you want them to do, right? So because they know you too well, so they all know you're bad, you're the skeletons in your closet, they know all that stuff. So with the O, you basically use it as a favor. Say, you know what? Hey, I'm working. So if I approach a friend like John, I say, John, I'm working with very sharp young girl, Nancy. She's a Gen Y entrepreneur. We're expanding the business here, and I want to make a good impression. Can you do me a favor and just take a quick phone call about this opportunity we're doing, about this business we're expanding here? Is very exciting. Can you take a quick 2-3 minute phone call to learn more about what we're doing? Okay, and so you use the favor card as a favor. I want to look good. I'm working hard here. You're one of my best friends. Can you do me a favor and support me? That's the key word. Can you do me a favor and support me? Now, whether he's going to be open and interested, I don't care, because he's probably not going to join me because he knows me too well, right? But he doesn't know who Nancy is. Nancy's a mysterious stranger. He'll be intrigued. So that's the key. Again, the upline or the third-party tool is extremely important. The third type is the W. They're worse than you. They look up to you. So these are very simple. When you approach them, you just tell them what to do. You command them. Okay. So what do you mean by commanding them? I'll be my little cousin Jeff. I said, Jeff, what are you doing on Saturday night? Nothing. Well, Saturday night, I'd like you to talk to this girl Nancy. We're expanding our business in New York right now. We're looking for people, and I look out for you. I think this would be a very good opportunity for you. It'll help you make some extra income on the side. You need it too. Just go 7 p.m. Set 5 minutes aside. We do a 3-way call. This will help you out. Trust me, it will help you. Okay. This tells them you command people what to do. Okay. Now, obviously, I can't say that to my O's, my friends who know too well, because they basically I can't tell my brother that, right? He'll laugh at me. Or I can't tell the S people, my former boss, because like, who do you tell me what to do? But I can tell them to W's, people who look up to you. So again, you want complete scripts? You can go to my website. I have them. Just search for 5 deadly mistakes. And then you can get them all there. But you have to have 3 different type of people, S, O, and W's. All right. Let's move on. We have about 20 minutes left here, and I want to share with you the next skill, which is, so we have inner game. Number 2, we have marketing. Number 3, we have prospecting, which we just went over how to approach your prospects the right way. Number 4 is leadership. Okay. Ultimately, this is leadership. So it's really by step. You see, if you have the mindset, if you have the bad mindset, everything fails. Okay, it's like the operating system. Doesn't matter how great your computer is. If you have a virus, it's basically useless. But you got to have the inner game. With the inner game, then the next step is you got to have marketing. Like whether offline or you use social media, like Nancy teaches you, you find prospects. Third is then you need to know how to approach them. You know how to present to them, right? And I just shared with you the 5 deadly mistakes and how to use your upline or use third-party tools. 4th step, so you brought them in, you signed them up. What else you do? Now it's about leadership. Leadership is how you keep an organization going, how you get them excited, how you motivate them, how you duplicate. And if you want lessons, you can go to I have a Magnetic Leadership Factory, a product. You can just go to Simon W. Chan, look on there. But some of the tips is people attract who you are. You attract who you are, right? So think about the person you want to attract. If you want a serious person who's really motivated and driven, you have to be that person, right? If you want a team that's always growing very fast, developing the mind, then you have to be a reader. You gotta be a leader, learners. Right? Every one of you should be reading, learning all the time because you attract who you are. If you're not attracting the right people, that's because you're not growing. So you have to grow. And with leadership, okay, my tip is everything counts. Everything you do counts. And one of the best ways you want to learn about leadership, if you have kids, that's what leadership is. People don't listen to what you say. My kids don't listen to what I say. What do? They do what they see me do. Whatever I do, that's what they do. That actually sets a higher example. You have to think of everything counts. Now, I'm teaching my kids good hygiene. So, guys, sometimes we're sloppy, right? Like sometimes I go out and walk barefoot. I want to teach my kids to have clean feet. So I always teach, hey, when you go out, you got to wear your shoes, right? And now they're doing that. And there's a lot of things that I don't feel like doing. It's like, because guys, we're like slobs, we don't clean our room. But I want to teach my kids good habits. I have to clean my room because they only do what they see me do. So leadership is really, you have to lead by example, and that's what it means. Leadership is everything counts. What are you doing every day? Now, here's the test, right? Some of you, if you have downlines and you're wondering how come they're not moving, how come they're not doing anything, imagine we actually can make this happen. You had a GoPro camera, right? And you put it on top of your head and they follow you around what you do for 24 hours. How many of you would be proud to show that to your downlines of what you're doing every single day? Right? That's like if you have a camera following you around, what do you do? How much of your time are you prospecting? How much of your time are you reading, learning, growing yourself? Right? And I'm telling you, if you're not growing, your downline's not growing, it's probably because you're not doing that. Okay. In this past week, I was hanging out with 7-figure income earners. They're amazing. That's why they're making millions of dollars, right? They all have these habits. They're always prospecting. If you have a camera, they're always prospecting nonstop. Whether it's online, Facebook, they are prospecting. During minute of breaks, they're on the phones prospecting. So if you want to get your team going, you got to do it first. And I think probably for those who have kids, you probably understand more. People follow what you do, right? My kids just copy what I do. If I sometimes raise my voice a little bit, and they start raising my voice, so I say, I want to teach my kids not to raise my voice, even if I'm angry. They sometimes drive me. 2 boys, sometimes they drive you nuts. So I have to lower my voice. I'll be more patient. If I want to teach them patience, I have to be patient with them, right? So same thing with your team. So think about in what ways can you be a better leader. And it goes back to doing what matters in the business, which is prospecting, following up. Okay, and what Nancy talked about, social media. What are you posting on there? Everyone is watching. Everything you post has to have a specific reason. You just can't I feel like it, I'm going to post it up there. Okay, you can't. I'll share something like today. Someone posted something negative about another MLM company. By the way, you should never post anything negative about other MLM companies. MLM companies are not perfect. No MLM company is perfect. Not even yours is perfect. Because why? Because MLM companies are run by humans, okay? And humans, are they perfect? Humans are not perfect. We make mistakes, right? So whether you believe it or not, whether you believe in God or not, God's the only thing that's perfect. Anything run by humans is not perfect. Humans make mistakes. So every MLM company is not perfect, has mistakes. So you shouldn't bashing other companies. But this person went on some news site and putting that stuff on there. I was like, leaders don't do that type of stuff. Number one, you don't criticize, complain, and condemn other people. If you have nothing good to say, and this is leadership, if you have nothing good to say, don't say anything, right? Just keep your lips shut. And also, if you're spending your time digging dirt on other companies, why are you not prospecting? Your downlines are watching that. And once that person posted it, a lot of leaders just say, remove that post, that's inappropriate. This is because they post in a kind of a group. Everyone's just jumping on this person. Why are you posting this type of stuff? And you can tell, the people who are making at least 6 figures, or not even 6 figures, like 50,000 or more, they're all saying, remove this post, is not appropriate. And the ones who are not making money, they got so excited because they found some dirt on some other competitor. Okay, that tells you about the inner game. By the way, the inner game is one of the easiest ways to poison your inner game is watching the news. All right, let's move on. Okay, last thing is if you want to grow really big, you got to have global expansion. You got to expand. And the good news is with the internet now, it's easier than ever to expand. And global expansion, it could also mean not just you have to go to every country. It could be just outside your local city, long distance. Okay, long distance. Here's the thing, before you get too excited about it, okay, and that's why this is the last skill, it's by steps, right? You got to have leadership, duplicate, and I teach this in my ML Empire Recipe course. It's like you have to focus your home city first. Okay, I grew a big business in the Philippines and in Malaysia, but I only was able to do that after I built strong in the U.S. Okay, I built a strong U.S. I have leaders in the U.S. I was running meetings, running webinars, they can do a one-on-one, they can do presentations. Because if you want to go to another new market, you have to make a consistent effort. And if you're not able, and I was just talking to someone who was in my coaching that he wanted to go overseas, but he's in university, he's not willing, and you can't take like 3 weeks at a time to go to a place, or maybe 2 weekends out of every month to travel. Don't do it. It's just a total waste of time. Okay, focus on your inner city first. So 3 lessons. Number 1 is you want to go to a new market, okay, or even a different city. You got to research the market. Okay. Number 2 is target local people with connections. Target local people with connections. And here's a tip. I think one of the easiest ways to target people with connections. Now, if I was to go out to, let's say, uh, I'm in LA and I want to grow a market in Boston, New York. Okay. Do you think there's people in Boston that actually have moved over to live in uh, Los Angeles? Definitely, right? So I would go. There's actually bars, pubs, places that actually where every Sunday they watch the New England Patriots football, right? And they watch the Boston Red Sox during the baseball season. There are places like that where people from Boston all congregate and hang out. Okay, that is where you go, and that you can build connections, build relationships. They will know friends from those new cities. So I'll give you an analogy, right? Do you think there are Australians who actually moved, like people from Australia who moved to Los Angeles? Definitely, lots of them, right? What do Australians like to do? They like to what sports? Sports is the easy thing. What type of sports do Australians like to watch? They like to watch rugby, right? Of New Zealand, they might watch cricket. Do you think there's a place in Los Angeles, in a city like this, that people want to watch rugby to get together? There's at least one place, right? One place is some type of. I will go to that place, hang out there, and then you can meet people, and through there you get connections. That's it. And that's one offline way. You can easily also do it online with Facebook. Very, very simple way. So you can search for friends on Facebook. But what the key is, before you travel to any new market, new city, set up at least 10 meetings before you travel there. That will save you lots and lots of time. Don't think that, I have this one big prospect that's really good. I'm going to fly out there and go and build a team with them. Because I'll tell you, a lot of times you fly out there, that prospect disappears. Yes, it's happened to me where you spend all this time to go out there and then the prospect is no-show, right? Just because you're traveling, do you think they're going to show up? Yeah, prospects are ruthless. They don't show. They don't care. So it's going to happen. So what you do to protect yourself from that? Set up 10 meetings. 10 meetings with good prospects. And I'm telling you, it doesn't matter what type of prospects I have. I always set up 10 meetings with 10 solid prospects before I get on a plane to go anywhere. Because I know even out of those 10 really hot prospects, 5 will not show up, will give excuses. But at least I'll have 5 good presentations there. And out of 5, I could sponsor 1 or 2 people. Right? So I don't just say, I have one prospect, let me take the next flight out there. So that is a couple of tips, I think very helpful, but you want to build your home market first. Okay, so those are the 5 tips. Just to share, if you can master this, it's amazing what this business, Nancy shared what has helped her out. I've been in business for over 11 years. After, I was an instant success. I didn't achieve diamond as quickly as Nancy did, but once I did, my wife and I, we had a dream wedding. This is actually our wedding. Then we went to 2 honeymoons. We went to the most beautiful place in the world for the honeymoon. And this is the beautiful part of the business. I took a 4-month vacation. Okay, this is back in 2008, a 4-month break. We became a diamond director in May, and then June was the wedding. In July, we went to Bora Bora, which is, by the way, the most beautiful place in the world. Okay, if you don't know where Bora Bora is, just search on the internet. It is really it's an amazing place. Okay, it's near like the middle of the South Pacific. And then we went to the China Olympics. Okay, China Olympics, which is fulfilled one of my lifetime dreams as a big sports fan, being able to go there. And now, we just have a family. That's our family, and being able to spend time with my kids. Most dads are rushing to eat breakfast to feed my kids. I always say my oldest son, Obi. I've done a lot of stuff with my second oldest son. By the way, Obi's the luckiest dog because I just stay home and he sits on my lap all day. If we did a webinar, it was a little earlier, he'd be on my lap, but he's sleeping already right now. And then that's Ethan, just playing soccer with him, trains. We did a lot of, these are things that my dad didn't able to do. Everything my dad didn't want to do, I'm basically making an effort to do, spend with my dad. Spend with my kids, right? And that's why I've been retired. But the beautiful part is the business continues to pay you. That's residual income. And now we have my little younger son every day, 2 p.m., 2:30, we go for a walk with Obi. We just did it today, and sometimes we all fit in the car. We go to Disneyland. We go to Disneyland at least once a month with the kids, and we have a family pass. But that's the awesome part of this business. You have to take it seriously. We went for 5 fundamental skills here. Again, number 1 is your inner game. Number 2 is your marketing, and we learned tons of nuggets from Nancy. Number 3 is prospecting. Don't make the 5 deadly mistakes. Number 4 is with leadership. Remember, everything counts. You got to lead by example. Number 5 is once you get that down, look to have bigger vision. You have a big vision, go global. Okay, don't think small, think global. Now, for those who are in the U.S., next week, believe it or not, if you want access, I know this. You guys got good value this webinar, right? A lot of good people messaging me here. A lot of good stuff out there. A lot you'll message me stuff you applied. If you want more, we actually and I don't never do many events. Okay, I've done a couple events in Australia. This is the first time I've done an event in the U.S. It's a 2-day event. You can get day 1 pass. This is December 5th and December 6th, which is next Friday and next Saturday. Okay. December 5th, 7 to 10 p.m. is $20. If you want to get a 2-day pass, it's $100, and you get both days for free. Okay. If you wanted more information, go to simonwchan.com tour. Okay. And Nancy will be there. How many of you actually found good value when Nancy did today? How many actually saw a lot of good stuff from Nancy? The stuff she taught about social media, right? So if you want, she actually going to be talking even more in depth about social media in Los Angeles. So you definitely, if you're in the U.S. Or especially in California, Nevada, or Arizona, driving distance, anything, you want to get out there. Okay. 2 other things as we end, and I know where time is running. We'll open it for like 10, 15 minutes of questions. Is if you like this training, Sophie, you said you like this training. I actually do a training like this every week. Okay, and some of you actually are familiar faces. I would do an Insider Circle. That's actually part of my exclusive Insider Circle training. You get a newsletter in the mail. Okay, actually, I write a newsletter. What I actually end up doing, I'll do a lot of writing. You get a newsletter in the mail. You also get like a weekly call. You get archived the entire training library. So you like this training? I have a whole library with this type of training. You get access to a private Facebook club where you can ask questions. You can actually ask me questions on a weekly basis. You can email me. And it's normally $47 a month, but you can take a 1-month trial for $3.95. Okay, so I'm telling you, $3.95, that's like, I don't know, that's like 10 cents a day, 30 cents a day, something like that. You can't even buy a coffee at Starbucks for $3.95, but you actually will get a newsletter. And the reason it's $3.95 is basically covers my postage. I don't even make any money. It covers my postage and handling since we do ship a newsletter. So these are one of the newsletters you get in the mail. Okay, so you actually get a newsletter. And so this I just showed you. This is, you get a newsletter and we get sent to you with tips. Every month we go over mindset, inner game. We go over prospecting, marketing techniques, leadership, time management. It's all here. Okay, so you get this along with a 90-minute weekly call on Monday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern, and also it's recorded. It's within less than 24 hours. If you miss it, we record up. We put it in the membership site. You log in, you can access it. So if you're interested, it's simonwchan.com/insiders. Okay, simonwchan.com/insiders. Again, $3.95. This is what you do. You should definitely do it. If you don't like it, you can cancel after first month. Okay. So your next step is we're gonna. Nancy, we're still here. Let's open it for questions for 10 minutes or so. I know we said 90 minutes. We're actually about 88 minutes, but I think a lot of you really enjoyed this, right? Took a lot of notes here. So next step is, these are 2 things you should do. Number 1, go join Insider Circle, $3.95 trial. Go to simonwchan.com/insiders. Go there, get the trial. You get the newsletter. If you're in the U.S., you get it within a couple. Well, actually, with the Thanksgiving holiday, you get it next week. If you're overseas, you get it within. Even in Canada, you get it in like by 7 to 10 days. If you're in Australia, maybe 10 to 12 days, you get it. That's number 1. And number 2, get on the list for Nancy's social media. I know her stuff is amazing. She's actually signed up people in Hong Kong and definitely different places. Definitely want to do that. Go to nancyong.com/social media. Okay, so that's your next steps. Nancy, I'm going to unmute you. We'll take some questions here, and we will open it for 10 minutes for questions. Okay, let me unmute Nancy. Nancy, you're there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, and let's see the questions here. Okay, question: if you want to get about the location, yes, you get a for the LA event. Okay, it's in Long Beach Marriott. If you register, you get an email for that. Okay, Long Beach Marriott. It's right by the Long Beach airport. And Paul, I will make a note to make sure that to get that out as well. Okay. Joe Brand. All right, Joe. Take care. I know I've seen Joe Brand's Christchurch. So the newsletter is physical newsletter. I don't like online. I like to do things what other people are not doing. That's actually part of the success. Like Nancy says, everyone does quotes. You got to be doing different. That's part of success in marketing. If you zig, other people zigging, you got to be zagging. So newsletter is physical newsletter. Okay. I actually want to see it. And one of the reasons why is if it's online, I know we get so much stuff online. I get stuff online. I never read ebooks and stuff like that. But it's physical. I wanted to see it. And I know part of it's motivation. Right? I know I was not motivated to do the business, but when you see this newsletter come in the mail, you open it up, it's in your kitchen table, it's in your bathroom, whatever, you're going to read it and then you're going to get success. I want you to be successful. So it's a physical newsletter and it is, more work for me. I have to have someone that prints it out, ships it. It costs me postage, but it's for those who have get it, it's tremendous value. So it's a physical newsletter. Hi, Joyce. Okay, Paul, let me get to your questions. Gold Coast Boot Camp. I am doing a boot camp in Australia. I have no specific location yet. I'll have that in next month, Lee. Okay. For Nancy, here's the question. Do you do training events? Aside from the events, Nancy is going to be at the event in December in Long Beach. That's a question for you, Nancy, from Paul. Do you do any training events, Nancy?
For my organization or for coaching?
I guess it's for coaching, right, Paul? Yeah, for coaching. Do you do any training events?
Right now, all my training is online, so on webinar, and they're live, interactive, and stuff like that. But I am gearing into doing retreats and training soon. So, but I'm gonna definitely focus on the webinars for now, but that'll be in the near future.
So, if people want to know about your coaching, Nancy, where can they go to? If Paul's interested.
It's nancyon.com/coaching.
So Nancy on, okay, so that's very easy. If you're interested in nancyon.com, she does not do any live events. That's another reason why you need to go to LA. She really doesn't do, see, Nancy's busy supporting her team and stuff like that and doing different things. You want to go to the LA event, but she also does coaching. Her stuff is really good. Go to nancyon.com/coaching. Okay. Myrna, the rates for the Gold Coast, you have an early bird booking. No, I don't have any hotel booking. I'm not doing any hotel booking. I just did, for those who don't know, I did a boot camp in Australia and Sydney. It was a big hit. I'm doing one in the Gold Coast. If you want, it's $497. Okay, for a 2-day event, you go to SimonWChan/boot camp. That's where it's $497. Okay, it's going to increase to $597 later on. That's the early bird. Okay, so great question from Francis. It's Dean from Sydney. Dean, okay, great. How did you manage your time early so you didn't burn out? Great question. I scheduled in a specific calendar where I also make sure I did not go over, but I also make sure I fulfill that commitment. Okay, so if I would make sure I did 2 hours a day and burn out. And also it's like the mindset, okay? Burn out for a week. Weak people burn out. Entrepreneurs don't burn out. Mark Zuckerberg, he's in this. I always think about these entrepreneurs like Steve Jobs or Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates. They're founding the companies. They don't burn out. Only employees say they burn out, right? Now, it also is important to have a balance. I do things that make me feel good. I exercise. And exercise is really important. Exercise gets your blood flowing. You feel good. It gets the endorphins released. You feel a lot better. And so Dean, that's my question. That's my answer. Nancy, what do you do to prevent burnout for you? Aside from traveling around the world and having a great time in Bali, what do you do to prevent burnout?
Well, usually you get burned out when you don't have a control over your own schedule and you let other people dictate your schedule. Let's say random phone calls, you pick up every single one, or someone decides to call you and you end up staying on the phone with that person for an hour just because they keep talking. So you have to be able to manage that. I know as an entrepreneur, it's really hard to not be pulled in different directions because we're out there marketing and talking to people. But when someone does call you, it's okay to tell them, like, hey, I only got 10 minutes. What can we get, can we get straight to it? And manage it as much as you can. That way it doesn't, you decrease the time that's wasted, and you can spend more time doing things that you enjoy to do because you have extra time.
Yeah, Nancy brought up a great point. You got to learn to say no. There's some bad prospects, say no. And when you can't control things or you have negative downlines, you just complain, that sucks you up. You know, you have no control. Plan your day. That's one of the easiest ways. You're running your life. You're running your life, not someone else's life. Don't let other people dictate. The only thing that matters to you in this business is prospecting and building your business. So all these other things that, like negative people, negative downlines, negative prospects, you have no time for that stuff. All right, next question. And Alberto Benjamin, send me an email if it's enough people. I may go to Alberta. Okay, and also people have been asking me to go to Vancouver. That may actually happen because I actually have family in Vancouver, so it's a little bit easier with the kids. I actually really don't travel much now because of my family. How do you follow up without being pushy? Nancy, how do you follow up without being pushy?
Well, you don't want to call them just for that specific reason. It's okay that in between, your objective sometimes doesn't have to be the business. You can meet up with someone just to catch up for coffee, for brunch, and treat them out, and just show that you genuinely care about them as a person. And then when you do that enough, then it's okay that in between you do follow up about the business. That way, they don't feel that you're just all about trying to sign them up.
Good. Let's see. Niche. Just going through the questions here. Okay, thank you thank you. If you learned a lot, that's really good. I'm going through these comments where we're talking. Thank you, Bill. Florina, Vivian, thank you. Jason. All right, Nancy. Dave Lauman says you're beautiful, both on the outside and inside.
Thank you.
Lily, yeah, you have to engage your audience. Okay, it's not just posting. So Edward Lim he's the Insider Circle member. I've been working with him. He's been on the calls. I'm very proud to see you grown. It's all in there. And here's something else to write down. If you're not earning, make sure you're learning. If you're not earning, make sure you're learning, because sooner or later you will earn. Okay, but we've gone through a lot of negative programming from school. How you don't make mistakes, right? Or don't what are people going to think about us? There's a lot of this things that we have to reverse. Okay. Okay, there's 47 questions. Some of these comments, I'm narrowing them down. All right, Julie. Thank you for the feedback. I'm glad it was helpful. Remember, if you want these slides, send an email to simonwchan.com, simonwchan@simonwchan.com. Okay, let us know how this webinar has helped you, and we want to know one specific thing that you took, so you can take action on. We want you to take action, something you can take action on, and share that, and then give us a couple of days, and we will email you the slides. Okay, thank you, Melissa. We'll see you next week, Melissa, in LA. Okay. How do you fast track associates? So this was from Michelle. Nancy, how would you fast track associates to get them started?
Fast track meaning getting them to move fast?
Yeah, to get them started. What do you do when you train them?
Well, a few things that I do. Number one, I need to gauge out how serious they are. And because I'm not going to fast track someone if they don't want to fast track themselves. So you really have to know if they're motivated and if they can devote the time, the commitment that it takes for them to get fast results. So first, gauge out how serious they are. Secondly, then set that expectation. And then third, game plan. Game plan right away. Work backwards. Say, okay, in 1 year, how much do you want to accomplish? In 6 months, how much do you want to accomplish? That means in 3 months, you have to do this, and in 1 month, this is what you got to do. So work backwards according to their goal in 1 year or 6 months.
There you go. Thank you, Nancy. Nancy, if they want, Graham David says, when are you coming to New Zealand?
Oh my gosh, I want to go there soon. I hope so. I hope soon. I've never been there, actually. I've been everywhere but New Zealand. I don't know, send me an invite.
Send her an invite, so keep her posted. Okay. Dave Delavante, thank you for the feedback. I know you are a Diamond director, so thank you for that, David. Thank you. We can work something out to the East Coast. Thank you, Tien, for your comments. Thank you, Teresa. Thank you, Myrna, for your feedback. Myrna, your questions for the boot camp in the Gold Coast is below. March 6th and March 7th, 2015 at the Gold Coast. Nancy, this is a question from Flora. Can you have more than one niche to market? And we're going to take a couple more questions, and we have to wrap it up, okay? Can you have more than one niche to market, or should you focus on one?
It's better if you focus on one, but if you have two, you need to have one that's more dominant, in my opinion. And that dominant one is going to be the one that gets the most results. So it really depends what your goals are. Do you want to be successful in the niche A or niche B? Whatever it is, you got to focus on that more, and those are the results that you'll get. Or if you already have a skill set in one arena and you're really good at it already, then use that one as your main one, and then have your business tie in with that to leverage. But if both niches are equal, then choose the one that you want to be more successful first. Does that make sense?
Definitely. Okay, so we will just wrap up here. There's a couple more questions here. We start from the top, okay? We'll keep it seriously, 5 minutes, that's it, okay? Because the questions keep coming. Nancy, Nadine, please email Nancy at nancyong.com if you want to connect with Nancy's events in the Bay Area, okay? For Facebook, do you have a personal or business website, or combine them both and monitor it? When you start out, just work on your personal. My advice is you try to do too much. You try to do too much and you end up doing nothing at all. Okay, so, and you know what? My son is, it's time to read to my son. Okay, Ethan, 1 second, okay? We're wrapping up. And quiet. How do you build your credibility in front of your prospects? You start being a different person. You start reading self-development. You start changing yourself. You dress differently. You become a different person. That's how you build your credibility. Okay, you take your business seriously. And managing the time to do the business, anything that doesn't make you money, you cut it out. Anything that doesn't involve your family, your loved ones, you cut it out. That's the easiest way. And I have a good time management course. You can go to Simon W. Chan /time to learn my extreme MLM productivity techniques. By the way, if you want time, the monthly newsletter. Every month I give time management tips. Okay, so that's Brenda, that would help you out a lot. Okay, we have 2 minutes. All right, Maurice, email Nancy directly. And Charmy, thank you for the feedback. Okay, so email the feedback, the stuff you learned, and then we will send you the slides. But we got to wrap it up. And thank you again, Nancy. It's tremendous value. Definitely go to nancydong.com /social-media to sign up for a product. And if you love this training, you want to be an insider circle, go to simonwchan.com /insiders. All right, everyone, have a great night. Again, thank you, Nancy.